afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to One Hub Racing Season 29, round number 2, as the P4 tier head to Sakir for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Yes, there's a real-life race going on at the moment, but who cares about that, where we've got 20 fantastic drivers about to take to the track to see what they could do around this circuit. My name is Jess Ball. We don't have Quinn, unfortunately, today. He is away, but joining me in the commentary box this afternoon, we're making history at One Hub Racing. This is going to be a female commentary partnership. We've got Lainey. Lainey, how are you doing?
I am very excited today, Jess. Bahrain being one of my favourite tracks on the F1 calendar, so I can't wait to see how these drivers do in what can be a technical but also simple track, depending on the sector you're talking about.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, Bahrain is not as tricky as last week when we went to the Belgium circuit, where honestly, if you were driving there, it's like you're, for some people, it's like you're on a boat. So, I mean, it's going to be difficult for all of our drivers for Bahrain, especially if you're running no assist. But let's touch on last week. Last week we were at Belgium and we saw Evil Dragon take a victory in the Audi. His first ever win at One Hub Racing. Considering he hasn't won and he's been around for like many years, it's great to get a first win under his belt.
Oh, 100% Jess. He will have been wanting that. Absolutely wanting that. Like, desperately wanting that. So the fact he got his first win last week at Belgium at a quite difficult track is a very good result for him, and I hope he'll be able to keep it up today in Bahrain.
Yes, indeed. Let's look through the standings for you, which I'll get up on my screen. And, of course, Evil Dragon wasn't the only driver who has done well last time out. JR Mason, he said to us that he was very happy with his performance. He finished in second. Truth, he wasn't on the most optimal strategy here last week, and he went on the wrong tyres. If he went on the right tyres, he would have won the race, I'm almost certain of it. Shiesty and Helvetica finished 4th and 5th, and that is the rest of your order, because unfortunately not having the best of races and dropping way down the order. Your Constructors' Championship, McLaren are leading by 5 points over Audi. Of course, Audi only had one person scoring, but McLaren had 2 scoring, and that helped them a little bit. Red Bull in 3rd on 17. We got Ferrari, Haas, Racing Bulls, Aston Martin, Alpine, and Mercedes are their final point scorers, and Cadillac and Williams yet to score. We do have a new person from Cadillac joining the grid today, which is very great to see. But without further ado, let's get going for some racing action. And we got 20 cars about to take to the circuit. This is going to be great to see. Who's your money on for this first part of qualifying, Lainey?
Oh, I think I've got an obvious choice in the bag here, Jess, with Jamie. Obviously, McLaren top of the constructions. So it's between JR Mason and Jamie for me to take that pole. But there could be a few surprises in there as well.
I think we could see quite a lot of surprises, as well as the top 4 pretty much separated by hardly even nothing last week, apart from when cars had the issues. So we could tell you a little bit about the track in just a moment. First used in Formula 1 back in 2004, where we saw the Ferrari of Michael Schumacher win that race. It used to be a day race, but when it went to Bahrain in 2014, it became a night race, and it's become ever since. Of course, I don't think we're going to host a Bahrain race in real life, so this is the only time we're going to see it on your screens. We're going to see the first driver to set a lap time. I believe it's going to be one of the Ferraris. No, I might be... Oh, pardon, sorry?
I think it's the Audi of Evil Dragon has managed to get in front of the queue here.
Yes, I think, yeah, Evil Dragon is one of the first to get in and to start his lap time. He said he was looking pretty comfortable going into this weekend. Of course, he's improved quite a bit with his battery management. He makes his way towards turn 11, where if you don't have as much battery here, well, kiss your chances goodbye, really. Let me get the sector times, because otherwise you're not going to have a clue what I'm talking about. Of course, he's purple sector 2. He's one of the first drivers to set a lap time. Of course, leading the championship at this early stage could be happy for some drivers, but for some other drivers, like we saw Welsh Benjamin in P3 last season, we could see a lot of pressure from him. But Evil Dragon goes up to the line. His first lap time on the board is a 28.999, so a very rapid time to start with. But Cod set a very good lap time as well. P2 on the grid. We do have, I think, Rangers came across the line in P5. JR Mason just thought himself to P3. Both McLarens looking quite good. Fox is the biggest surprise there. P4 as well. A driver you won't expect to be up there near the front. 29.5, Laney, is pretty good for him.
Yeah, definitely. And that beautiful Mercedes, might add, around Bahrain. That'll also be good for the Mercedes team, considering their position in the Constructors and in Drivers' Championships. That will be a very happy Mercedes driver under the wheel. As I want to take focus on the Aston Martin of Jack Craig here, coming up to my favourite straight on Bahrain. It allows the most pace throughout the lap, in my opinion. It's a great place for overtakes in the race as he comes into the final corner now. With 17% battery, it might not be enough to get a decent lap as he runs out of battery quite early on. So 1:29.5 though, Jess.
I have to say, anyone from like 2nd to 9th is pretty close in D. So Jack Craig, very, very respectable time so far. So your current order then is Evil Dragon on pole at the moment. Cod in 2nd, JR Mason in 3rd, Fox in 4th, Jack Craig in 5th, Martino in 6th with a 1:19 at 6. Himself got involved with an incident with Wolf last week, and Wolf had some interesting things to say in the rivalries last week, and about Martino, and he was saying. Well, quite a few. Actually, no, it was his teammate that was saying quite a few things. Martino was saying quite a few things and said, "Oh, this is the reason why Wolf is in the V car, but not the racing bulls. That everyone will be dying to get in the main team." And I was like, oh, that's a bit spicy from both of these. I was hoping we get some spicy in the rivalries, and look at that, we did. As Gaming Fernandez makes his way towards turn number 1. Interestingly, he's done multiple laps on these soft tyres. So is Nightclear in the Cadillac.
Yeah, they might have invalidated some laps, Jess, which is not very good around Bahrain because you want to make sure you get all the maximum laps possible, as several are now on their outlaps while the rest are in the pits, or they're doing 2 outlaps into a push lap, which I did at Bahrain and it actually paid off for me. So I'm hoping that these drivers have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, Bahrain isn't going to turn out so great for you.
Yeah, I mean, Bahrain's one of those tracks is where you do well or you don't. But it's not a Marmite track because some people are in the middle of it. But it's always a great track to commentate. But we don't know how it's going to be like in a set of regulations. When I commentated on it in another league, I remember it was quite an entertaining race. So here's Nightclear going to make his way into the pit lane. We're going to have to wait and see. Yes, he is. He's going to make his way into the pit lane. We've got 2 drivers in the middle of their laps. Helvetica, a purple set to 1 at the moment. Hopefully it's not the game glitching or anything, but this is a very solid lap from Helvetica so far. We also got OE in the other Audi on our lap. It's his first race in One Hub Racing. Same with Matt in P19. Of course, Matt has turned some assists off for the first time, and he said to me that he was struggling. Let's hope he can cope in this race. But let's watch Helvetica in the other Audi. If he can perform just as well as Evil Dragon in the other Audi, then this could be looking very good for the Constructors' Championship in towards turn 13. Now, this is one of the straight line modes coming up, and before the new race got invented, of course, there was no DRS here, so they're going to gain tons of straight line speed here, and they could choose to have it on and off if they want to, but if they don't have it on, they're going to lose a lot of time. Helvetica goes up to the line. Is it going to be a respectable lap time from him? Not in the 29th, 1:30, so he lost a bit of time in that last part of the lap there. It was a bit unfortunate, which puts himself into P14. The other Audi of OE goes across the line. Helvetica's in the Haas. Never mind. My brain's just having a little bit of a thing, little bit of a thing. Now, OE's struggling a little bit. Of course, it's his first race in a league. But sometimes you just want to not take any risks on your first race. Just have a feel for what you could expect, and maybe the luck and the pace will come to you. That's what I used to do. But he's going to come in up into the line, and that's about 10 seconds slower than everybody else. But he's just getting a feel for it at the moment.
Yeah, to be fair, for banker laps, you don't expect too much, especially when it's your first time in a brand new league. You won't get used to everyone else's run plan and see if you can get the clear air. As we have most drivers now coming out for their second out lap of the day, or for some fourth out lap because some of them do double, which does confuse me, but
It does
I'll get
confuse
there
me too.
eventually.
I've been
Yeah.
commentating for years, Lainey, and it still confuses me. But I think one of the Audis. Oh no, Evil Dragon's invalidated. Yeah, Evil Dragon has invalidated. I had a feeling I saw him invalidate, so unfortunately he has to abort and go again. Meanwhile, Cos, who finished 9th last week, got involved in a few incidents with Evil, but they spoke after the race and no harm done between the both of them. But that compromised Cos this time massively. He's got a bit of a toe from one of the Red Bull drivers, which may have helped him a little bit. Of course, he was fighting with Truth in the pre-season race in Japan, but his patience wasn't there towards the end. Maybe this could be the race where he would redeem himself compared to everybody else, because I was the one who predicted Cos to do well last week, but he didn't. I think I predicted Cos to get second, but he didn't. I didn't predict Cos in any of my predictions, so knowing him, he's probably going to do well this weekend. Cos, as you treat this corner, just like one turn coming up through here, he's got more battery compared to everybody else, but he's still going to derate across the line. This is very, very good from Cos. A 1:28.7 from the Visa Cash App car, and he's beaten Evil Dragon by 2 attempts. And I think Cos is going to say to that, try and say that, beat that to everyone, beat that JR Mason. He can't improve, but we can't improve on position, but he improves on time. 1:29.0 for him, not that far off Evil Dragon, Laney.
Wow, I am speechless with some of the laps coming in with Cos taking pole, which has really mind-blown me, but also JR Mason getting closer, as you said, to the Evil Dragon. What I do like to recall to is the rivalry at this point between the sister teams of Red Bull and VCarb. At the minute, VCarb seems to be beating our elder team, so I think Red Bull are going to take that in spite and try and beat their sister team in qualifying here.
Of course, with the team contract system, Red Bull want you to do a lot better than the sister team. So I think the Red Bull team bosses are not going to be too happy seeing their drivers in P8 and P9, where they got the sister team of VCarb in P1 and P6. So Trib needs to get a move on, considering he got close to winning a race last week. He's only 5/100ths up on his best time, so I wonder if he's going to back off a little bit. Evil Dragon just came into the pits, but let's watch Truth coming through into the final corner. I don't think this is going to be much of an improvement, so I won't be surprised if he gets to go again. Up to the line goes Truth. He seems to be struggling a little bit. A 1:29.8 puts himself into P9. Does not improve at all, Laney. He lost a lot of time in that final sector.
Yeah, now it's Red Bull teammates coming through the final corner. Martino, he did hit an advertising board, the 50-meter braking board, but he still goes up into P4 with a 29.1. That is a very good lap, but still off the VCarb in pole position at the moment.
Martino, that is very, very impressive, because he seems to be struggling on pace in qualifying in Japan and Belgium. So this is more like it from the Red Bull driver, but still not quite enough to beat, of course, the sister team of Cos. Shiesty did very well last week. He's almost 2 attempts up on his previous best. That will put him around about the top 10 territory in that Ferrari. Of course, they were Constructors champions last season with Jamie. They're looking to try and do it again with his other teammates. So Shiesty up to the line, goes 11th fastest, so not quite in the top 10, but still very, very respectable indeed. I do believe we have more drivers who's finished. James came across the line in 12th. Jake's making his way into the pit lane. Quite a lot of people are making their way to the pit lane actually to do that. But interestingly, Jack Craig Laney is on a set of the medium compounder tyres. Of course, we've got a lobby restart coming up, but he may think that the mediums could be a lot faster. I've not had much experience, but maybe he just wants to get an eye a little bit. Maybe he doesn't like the softs.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit of sandbagging there from the Aston Martin to maybe try and almost compromise getting pole to then get a better position on the grid, because I feel when you start in pole, it's a lot of pressure. So maybe Jack Craig is just trying to also maybe test out the mediums, but is also doing a bit of sandbagging, as he is actually going to start a lap on those medium tyres. as he did 29.533 on his previous lap there. We'll see what he does on this full lap now, Jess.
Maybe he's just using it as extra practice ahead of the race coming up, because you'll have to use the mediums at some point. Of course, in the race, it's a mandatory 2 stop. So the more practice you can get, the better. And if he thinks he can't go any quicker, why not use it as extra practice? So that's a very smart move potentially for Jack Craig. Evil Dragon is just started his lap then on the set of the softs. He's not going to have enough time to set one final run unless he does 2 outlaps potentially. Cloudy's going to go into the pits as well. So it's time now in the chat to get your predictions of who you think is going to be pole position in this race. I made my prediction in the pre-race show earlier. I predicted Evil Dragon. Colin predicted JR Mason. JR Mason's in 3rd and Evil Dragon's in 2nd. And Lainey made a prediction for Jamie. Has it changed your prediction? Because you could change your prediction, I can't.
Oh, well, at the minute, yes, it's between the V-Carb and, of course, and Evil Dragon, but I feel I would be cheating if I change my prediction. So I will keep the JR Mason as a bit of a chance. I really hope he gets out the pits, though, because otherwise this is going to backfire.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's as long as he goes out the pits with 2 minutes 30 to go, he'll be fine. As Evil Dragon purple set to 2, he's almost 2 temps up. This middle sector for Mr. Evil Dragon is looking very, very good. Let's go on board with the Audi driver, your championship leader. He's hoping that he wants to keep it up there. The final corner didn't look that very tidy for him, but he goes up to the line. Is it going to be fast than Cos? No, P2, but he still improves on his lap time there. Very decent from him. I'm sure he'll be happy with that, but the main chance you get points is the race, so I don't think he's going to be too disappointed with that. We've got JR Mason, Fox, Wolf, Jamie, Shiesty, Jake, Helvetica, Bryce. Everybody now is on outlaps, about to start their final laps of the session. This is make or break time for all of these drivers to see if they could get pole position to count themselves towards the Speedster Award, where they can win themselves a pair of pure sim gear gloves. Evil Dragon, I don't think is going to make it out for another lap, so that'll be it for him. But there's a chance for all other drivers to see if they could beat Cos and get pole position.
I tell you what, Jess, the field is looking tight today. If you look between pole position and P16, there's only 1.6 seconds in it. So all these drivers here have a chance of at least making the top 5 as it gets closer towards the midfield as well. So we'll have to see how these drivers cope with the pressure of being so close together. As I focus on Wolf here, be looking actually to take back the advantage of being ahead of...
He's aborted, Lainey. He's aborted his lap time. I think either he wanted to warm the tyres up or he got blocked or something. So, yeah, he's going to go again. But I keep my eye on Wolf as well. He's 10th at the moment. I think he's still got a 10th or 2 in him.
Oh, 100%. He'll be motivated by his Red Bull, I'd say, older sister of Martina up there. But I also want to focus on another man who I predicted to get pole position out of the two McLarens. Jamie Met is actually pushing, luckily, hasn't aborted his lap and get a commentator's curse there. As he comes into the most difficult corner of Bahrain Turn 10, he has plenty of battery to use on this straight, which is the shortest out of the straights, but is also the most effective as you come into now Turn 11, which he gets almost perfectly. There is a driver who looks to be in the way, luckily gets out the way of Jamie there. That
just about.
Yeah, just about. If I give him a bit of slipstream, near enough 3/10 up on his lap, this could put him up to P5 if he can make this work. So Jamie will be pushing now. This final corner has plenty of battery, which will get used straight away as he goes down to 0%, and his lap time is going to be pole there, but in P5.
129.3 for Jamie. He'll be happy with that. As Fox comes across the line, he comes across the line in 6th. We've got one of the Ferraris that's just finished his lap in 8th position. We got who's next? Is it James or Jake? It's Jake who comes up to the line in 10th fastest. So he improved on this time by 2 tenths. So not too shabby from him. I think we have Evil Dragon on another lap. Oh, he's invalidated his lap, Laney. So he's not going to get pole. That's my prediction gone. That's my point lost in the predictions championship. Same with Colin, unfortunately. Luckily, none of us got points, so it makes me feel better. But Martino, he's improving on his time in the middle sector. Is that going to come into fruition in the final sector? Martino comes up to the line. It's going to be a 129.180. He does not improve. Looks like Cods will keep his pole position unless anyone could stop him. I think it's all going to be up to Jack Craig and Truth here. We got Truth comes up to the line. He can only manage 6th. Jack Craig, he can manage 6th as well, so he does not improve. Let's just see what Bryce could do. He's invalidated. And Ren, one of our newest drivers, he goes up to the line. It's looking like a good lap for Ren. 129.8, he'll be happy with that. And that is it. So, Cod set that lap towards the middle half of the session, and he kept it there, and both of his laps would have been good enough for pole. Even though he did not improve on this run, both his lap times would have been good enough for pole. So good job on Cos. He takes a pole position for round 2 of the championship.
Yeah, this race is going to be exciting. Viewers, stay tuned for this race, because I'm looking at the gaps here. Pole down to P14, it's only split by a second. So that is very tight, and in the race, the top qualifiers, they don't, well, some of them do well in the race, but they can also have a bit of a slow down. So pole is not fully safe for the race win yet.
Definitely not. Just because you get pole around here, that doesn't mean you're going to win the race. And look at the gap between Cos and Evil Dragon at 2/100ths of a second. Watch out for the rest of this race, my friend. This is going to be fantastic. Let's go through your order then. We got Cos, Evil Dragon, JR Mason, Martino, Jamie, Jack Craig, Truth, Wolf, Fox, Shiesty. Then we got James, Jake, Nightclear, Ren, Alvetica, Curly, Kim Bryce, Gamer Fernandez, Owie, and Matt rounding up your top 20. There were a lot of good surprises there in that one, but I have to say Martino was my biggest good surprise, considering he has been struggling in the first couple of races so far, Lainey.
Yeah, he will be proud of that, and so will Red Bull. Maybe he'll keep his seat just if he can hold on to that pretty high position, or even make places up, because as I say, the race is always unpredictable around Bahrain. So we'll have to see how both the Red Bull drivers do, but one thing Red Bull will be looking at is that Cos V-Carb in pole position. Will he be able to hold on to that pole to get the race win today, or will Evil Dragon have something to say about it?
It all comes down to race pace. Who has put the practice in? Luckily, with the adaptive weather system, it is not going to be wet weather as everyone has feared. So they're going to be relieved about that. But if you haven't put the practice in qualifying, but not put the practice in the race, it's really going to show going into this. So we will watch out as they go on. But the media have been busy interviewing our drivers, and we will pick out some other drivers in terms of what strategies they're going to be doing in terms of battery management. Nightclear says battery is not too much of an issue for him, but tyres will be the thing that goes wrong. That is quite a common theme for a lot of our drivers. They're saying battery management not too bad, but the tyres going to be absolutely difficult for them. Martino is saying they're going to try and find a way to manage the battery in a way that gives him the most efficient pace throughout quality in the race. Well, he's definitely found that. But yeah, so it seems to me from the pre-race interviews, Lainey, the tyres are going to be the issue more than the battery.
Oh, most definitely. I totally agree with the drivers there that tyres are going to be a big issue. Battery around Bahrain is pretty decent because you're able to lift and coast through a lot of the corners, especially turn 10 in my opinion, as that's a heavy braking zone. You gain a lot of battery going onto that straight. So yeah, I agree with the drivers. What I don't agree with is the amount of confidence they've got. I tell you, it is it's left me speechless again how much confidence they have. But I guess fair play to them. They've made it here, and I rate the confidence, to be honest.
Honestly, they probably have more confidence than me. If I was racing in P4 or put 40, I don't think I'll be inside the top 10. Bahrain is a track on this game where I absolutely hate. Lifting and coasting, I agree with you. It's not much of a factor around this circuit because obviously not that much braking zones, but you have a chance to save more battery in those braking zones. Of course, turn 4, turn 9 and 10, turns 11, and we got a bit of turn 13, and then towards turn 14 as well. So plenty of chance to save the battery there. And when we go to the next track, I believe it's Monza next time out, that's going to be, I think, a bit more difficult for the battery. So I have to say good luck. Your reigning P4 champion has been asked a few questions as well, and he was asked about the overtaking opportunities, if he's going to do anything different. He said drive as fast as possible and see what happens, and sometimes for some of these drivers, to get used to these regulations, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, 100% drive at maximum and hope it doesn't go wrong. I agree with that then, because I do the exact same thing and it ends up going wrong. So that's why I'm a commentator, not a driver in one hub.
Well, this season, I think I'm glad I'm just a commentator, but I think after this week, I won't be free at this time, so it's probably going to be a bit of an issue. But speaking of streams, we are looking for a full-time streamer, by the way, to join Quinn commentating on the P4 tier. So if this is sounding entertaining for you and you would like to commentate on the P4 tier at this time in a couple of weeks' time for the rest of the season, please give me a message and we will get you sorted as long as you send us your best work. That'll be great, because of course we're standing in at the moment. After this week, like I said, I can't do the rest of the season at this time, so of course it will have to be someone else. So if you're wondering what's going on, we are having a lobby restart very soon. We are just waiting for people to advance from the dummy lobby so we can get going, because we are running a bit short of time at the moment. Of course, you raced around here quite a few times, Laney. Of course, you only had to do one stop. It's a two-stop strategy. If you were a P4 driver racing in this tier, what strategy would you go for?
Oh, that's a great question, Jess. I would probably start on the mediums, then go on to the hards so I could fully push them out, and then at the end go for the softs or a bit of a sprint strategy, as that also covers me for safety cars. So yeah, that's strategy what I'd go for. What would you go for?
I think it's quite a tough one. I think for me, on any track around on F1 26 DLC, if it's a two-stop race, I would definitely avoid the softs unless we get a late safety car. I would definitely start on the mediums because it's the more durable tyre. You could push for a bit longer, and then you have an option to either go double medium or double hard. Am I just being good? Oh, okay. The lobby was broken. Now it's fixed again. But I think we're going to do a new lobby anyway because, yeah, EA. Let's just say that it's had an issue, I think, last few weeks as well. But we will be going shortly. But I think that's what most people will do. Will start on the mediums. But I think going on to other tyres will be a different matter. I would say as well. Of course, what would have happened if it would have rained? Probably a lot more difficult because they won't have to manage the battery. But the pace will be pretty much even. So we will have no clue on what we would do. So get your predictions in the chat, everybody. Who do you think is going to win the race? Is it going to be the drivers that we mentioned in the pre-race show, or is it going to be someone different? Please give us a chat message. That'll be much appreciated. Riley saying Jack's going to win from 6th, and then Jack saying God's sake 2 sec of his PB, and he says no chance. But Jack, anything could happen. We have seen major surprises beforehand.
Yeah, 100%, Jess. You never know. I was going to comment on it, but I thought we'd wait a little bit. Let the nerves settle in a little bit there with that pressure. Jack, go for it, mate. Absolutely send it. I want to see that. I think the audience wants to see that, and you'll be written in history if you do that. I'd vote you driver of the day if you did that. So,
Yeah. Of course, we got to vote for our sim racing setups driver of the day, but we can't do that until obviously that we have a race going on as well. So yeah, I'm going to leave the lobby so we could join the next one. If you're wondering what the issue is, the lobby got stuck for some reason on the race results screen, and I think as soon as the lobby host left, then that's when the lobby just kicked into full gear again. So that's why of course we have to do a lobby restart. So for those of you wondering why we're not going yet, that is why. So please bear with us, ladies and gentlemen, as we get the next lobby underway. And it's all about that pre-race rituals now, lady, to get into that mindset of during this tough period when we've got that interruption of the lobby not working and them having to join another one. This could interrupt their flow a little bit, but they're probably used to running around, but maybe not this much.
yeah, most definitely, Jess. It would take me out of my flow. It sort of has with the commentary, but not too much, luckily. But yeah, if I was a P4 driver, then I would 100% be out of my flow here, because you have less focus on the race and more about getting into this new lobby. So let's hope it's not a problem in the future, because, you know, bugs happen, but it's been quite frequent with the game, unfortunately, that it's happened quite a bit.
I think luckily we have not had full 4 lobbies. We haven't had a full 22 car grid in One Hub Racing, so I couldn't imagine if that happened then, but I don't think we're going to get that for quite a while. And of course, thank you for Colin for mentioning that the lobby has glitched, unfortunately, so hopefully we will get underway soon. So we could talk to you a little bit about the recommended strategy. Of course, we have 15 turns, 9 to the left, 6 to the right. The recommended strategy, if it was a one-stop, starting on the mediums and going on to the hards, but maybe splitting it will be the best option. The most difficult parts of the circuit, in my eyes, I would have to say, turns 9 and 10, the double braking zone, which is partially blind on entry into that corner, and you've got to brake and turn at the same time. That's harder for ABS users, and it could catch drivers out the outside curb, and there could be quite a bit of an understeer. Turns 12 is an understeery corner as well. That could be quite tricky, and especially as it gets overcast towards the end of the race, the drivers could struggle with tyre temperature.
Yeah, most definitely. With the overcast weather, that's going to throw this race into almost bigger proportion than if we had wet in the desert, which I thought didn't make sense, but I was kind of hoping for the wet weather, secretly. But also, I'd also like to mention that final corner with the sort of colder temperatures. I think drivers may make the mistake of going a bit too wide, and then that curve, that can really throw you off course.
I have drove Bahrain in the wet in another league, Jack Craig knows, and it's absolutely awful. I don't know how the drivers were going to manage, but luckily the drivers are not going to manage it, because we don't. We have with the adaptive weather system, there are lots of weather combinations that we could get during the race, and there was a lot of wet combinations. And we saw, when I was looking, we were so close to getting very wet, which I was about to cry, but luckily that didn't happen. So, but until the quali weather system is fixed, the glitch to fix, then we will get the wet qualifyings again. But until that happens, we are still going to be having dry qualifyings for the unseeable future. Yes, the rain is fun when you're a commentator, Jack, but when you're racing, it's a different beast. Have you ever tried driving Bahrain in the wet, Lainey?
I think I did once back on F1 2020 just to give it a go. And to be fair, compared to some other tracks, it weren't the worst, but it was definitely unrealistic, to say the least. Because I don't think deserts really get rain, otherwise they wouldn't be deserts, so... Yeah.
We got close. I think I remember we got close one year, I think, but... Yeah, luckily that didn't happen, and there was plenty of drivers that were prepared for the race. It might have been this year, actually. I can't remember. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was probably Barcelona with the shakedown. Cam saying Bahrain wet is easier than dry. Well, you are a different beast, you are, Cam. You are a different beast. Oh, my goodness. I find it quite difficult at the moment. I do believe, I think we're just waiting for one driver to get going. I think I'm just trying to see who we're waiting for. I think we're waiting for the newest driver to our league. So I'm going to mention him in the chat that we have, just to say we are waiting for you to join the new lobby, and he's away on Discord. Well, that is all good, but hopefully we'll hurry up soon, because otherwise the delay into P4 is P3 later on is going to be even more tricky. Gather says, who did yourself and Jess and Colin predict for P4? I need to get them up, because I remember mine, but I can't remember Colin's. We predicted the same 3 drivers, actually. I'm going to ask for Lainey's top 3 in a minute, so she could join in the fun. But I'm going to give her some time whilst I get those predictions in. Round 1, there we go. So I predicted... hold on, round 2, there we go. So I predicted top 3, Evil, Mason and Trove. Probably I predicted the wrong top 3, but there we go. And Colin has predicted Truth, Evil, and Mason in that order. You've had some time now, Lainey. Who is your top 3?
Oh, right. This is going to be a difficult one for me, because obviously it's my first time even really seeing P4. But so that means I'm going to have to go based off the quali. I think Evil is going to get the most brilliant start in the world, hopefully, and take that win. But behind him, literally by tenths, I'm going to go with Cos. And then I'm going to go with a bit of an outlandish one. I'm going to go with Fox. I want to put a bit of pressure on Fox here to maybe snatch a P3 under some ridiculous safety car. So yeah, that's my top 3.
So there we go then. We've heard all of our top 3s. We've heard Lainey's, we heard mine, and we heard Colin's. But what was your top 3? Let us know in the chat. Who do you think is going to do well? And the drivers have been told to ready up, so we are about to get started for the second round. Don't forget, P3 will start at 1:45, but we won't be cutting to the P3 stream until P4 has ended. So qualifying could still happen in P3 whilst the P4 race is still going on. We've got Jax that says Cos P1, JR Mason P2, Evil P3. That was a similar prediction that I did last week, I think. Actually, no, I predicted Cos P2 and Evil P3. That was a similar prediction. But anyway, before we head to the main race action, we've got to do the important stuff. We got to talk about our sponsors. So our title sponsor, Delta.app. If you're over 18, you can track all your investments like the world's top investors and make smart decisions. You can track your journey to success with Delta, and you can get the app for free by using the command !Delta in the chat, or if you're on YouTube, you can click the link in the description. We also got our sponsors, Next Level Racing, who are providing some prizes this season, and we thank them for their continued support. Sim Racing Setups. If you want some setups from on F1 2060 LC, Sim Racing Setups have you covered. They have some dry esports setups and wet setups, as well as some ERS strategies. And if you use the code OneHubRacing, you get 10% off, and you also get some vouchers if you win Driver of the Day, just like Evil Dragon did last week. Next, we've got Pure Sim Gear, one of our other sponsors. You can use the code OHR10P to get 10% off at checkout and get these amazing gloves or socks. And the one with the most goodbye poles and fastest laps will win these. So good job on them. Then we got our partners, Vespertine, that will be providing our merchandise, some prizes, and also helping with the payment system. And then finally, our partners at SimGrid. Without SimGrid, we'll be filling in bloody Google Sheets or spreadsheets or forms or whatever, and Cam will be driving us absolutely nuts. So there you go. Thank you to all our sponsors. We couldn't have done it Without you, of course, with the drivers will have to wait 2 minutes to get underway, Lainey, so they could choose their setups. If you are watching the stream, listening to the stream rather, and you're racing in this one, remember your setups. I've done it once or twice. I think I did it once last season, where I think it was Hungary, where I loaded into the session, but I forgot my setup, and it was absolutely awful. Don't do a me, don't do a Colin last season. Anyway, we are about to get underway then for the second round of One-Up Racing P4 tier. It is go, go, go. We got a drive-through penalty for Matt. That's not good for him, but Cos gets a really good start compared to Evil Dragon. So does JR Mason. Both McLeod's getting a good start, actually, but Evil with the lunge in towards turn 1 as Cos struggles to get past Evil Dragon once more, but there's a bit of contact potentially from the pair of them. But Martino's gained a place from JR Mason. Jamie, I think, must have had an incident with someone else, so that was a bit unfortunate for him. But Evil Dragon up into the lead of this race, and quite a few people have gained place already, and there's contact in the background. Truth, that's a shock. He's down into 18th spot. That's not good, but Gamer James goes through on Fox up into 8th, and Fox is going to lose another position from Ren, and they both make contact. They're sending it to the wall. That's not good. It was clean last week. Doesn't look like it's clean this week, but Evil Dragon takes the lead.
Yeah, I think I've done a commentator's curse on Fox here, as he has dropped down absolutely tremendously there. But I have got the top 2 right, so at least I've got something going for me at the minute. What I do want to talk about though is strategy. One, as in Jake in the Alpine, has gone hards. Majority have gone mediums, but also a few risking the softs this early.
Soft compounder tyres then, as we're seeing a bit of debris falling from some of the cars. But yeah, nice to have a mixture of strategies. Interestingly, the Jake's gone for the hards. Hopefully it wasn't an accident and he was meant to go for the hard compounder tyres. Probably not the tyre I would have gone for, because around this track it takes so much time to heat up those tyres, but it'll probably be good later on. So watch out for Jake in the middle of this stint as Martino goes deep, and it's going to allow JR Mason to potentially gain a move on Martino. No, he does not, because going side by side with Evil Dragon, Cos having more battery than Evil Dragon. Around the outside in towards turn number 4, Evil Dragon fights back into turn 5. They go, still going wheel to wheel as Evil Dragon retakes the lead. That was very close for Cos, but unfortunately he couldn't quite make it stick as Evil Dragon retakes the lead from Cos there. This is going to be a very exciting fight between the pair of them. Martino not that far behind, or the top 8 also close within this overtake train now, because don't forget, if you're within 1 second of the car ahead, you now have the extra boost, which gave you a little bit more energy. Cos has that energy now, Evil Dragon doesn't, so that's going to gain Cos an advantage within this next lap, and he's going to gain it next lap as well.
Yeah, I've just had the strategies load up on my screen. It says they might either do a soft hard or medium hard in today's race. I'm guessing for Jake that is a totally different strategy, because I haven't gone hards twice. As Alexis says, they take 2.5 laps to warm up. Maybe he did it to get them out of the way nice and early before the overcast conditions.
Yes, he might. That is a good point, because, of course, it is clear at the moment and it will get overcast towards the end, so that's potentially why he's done it. Cos has another chance now. He's got 22% of battery. Nicely done. He's now going to take the lead. Is he going to have a chance to pull away? We will find out. Evil Dragon has another chance. He's got a bit more battery than Cos has through this next straight. He's going to use that straight mode. Martino's not that far behind him either. Good job on Jamie, by the way. Jamie's gained a few places back after that horrific opening few laps for him, but now he's back up into 6th, so he will take that. It just goes to show the amount of good pace that he's been having so far in Bahrain. He even said in the pre-race interviews that he was having a bit more confidence, so we will find out a little bit later on if that's going to help him at the moment. JR Mason's having a good race as well. Let's see who has gained the most places so far in this one. Let me just find out. So we've got Wolf. No, Gamer James has gained 4. James has the best race so far. car. Wolf has gained 3. Gamer Fernandez up 6 positions. He's starting near the back of the grid. He's made up a lot of places due to a lot of people coming into blows. And that is very, very good for the Williams drive, considering it's his second race in 1-hour racing. Yellow flag. That is one of the Audis of OE, as he must have made contact with the Cadillac of Matt. So not good for him. Those two, unfortunately, are a little bit too further back compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, when you said chaos at the start, I didn't expect this chaos. As it seems the McLaren of JR Mason is losing a bit of time to the Red Bull of Martino, but it's also being dragged in by Wolf on the softs, who will be wanting to take advantage of those before they decide to just die, as the softs tend to do. As we've got battling in the midfield, Jake losing at 9th place to the Ferrari Shizzy. And we'll have to see how far that Alpine goes down on those hard tyres.
He almost got it back as well. Oh, wait a minute. We got a battle for the lead. Evil Dragon got Costed towards turn number 4. But can he fight back a tiny bit of contact towards turn 6? But Evil Dragon retakes the lead. I have to say, these two battling is going to be, I think, really fun to watch for the rest of this one. So please watch this space. Evil Dragon will still have the overtake for the next sector, as OE is slowing right down and is spinning a little bit more. I think the race has gone from bad to worse for him, but let's watch about near the front. Cos is going to try for an audacious move on Evil, surely not into turn 12. No, he thinks better of it, so he tries to stay behind for now. So the top 5 having reasonable pace compared to everybody else. They're all within overtake of each other, apart from Gamer James, who's 1.7 seconds behind, which should be good news for your Jamie Met, because you've got that extra boost, whereas James won't within this next lap. We're about to start lap 5. I won't be surprised if in a few laps' time some of our drivers will come in, including Wolf. I think Wolf will be one of the first drivers to come in. I'm watching Wolf's battery usage. It's not looking good at all. He's hardly got that much battery to use. But meanwhile, JR Mason is going to get past Martinia in towards turn 1, as Jamie's going to try and go for a send as well as the back. But JR Mason, it was thrown for a minute, but Martino fights back. Wolf, by the way, has got more of the overtake, so Wolf gets past JR Mason in towards P4. Yellow flag. I don't know who's that for. That I think OE's about to be lapped. That's probably why. Yes, OE's about to be lapped already on lap 5, but Martino, by the way, did get a penalty. Let's see what penalty he's got. He's got a 3-second penalty. So is King Bryce and Matt. So they're already on the back foot lane, eh?
Yeah, a 3-second penalty within 5 laps is not a good statement, especially if you're Martino fighting for that podium spot, or if you're King Prize trying to get into the points, which goes up to the 12th place here. So right now he is on the risk of losing out on points because of that 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, he's going to be in absolute danger. And if we get a safety car, it is more likely to get a safety car around here, as we have someone gone off. I always keep worrying it's Evil Dragon, but it's not. Meanwhile, we've got the overtake mode being... Oh, it's Mattia's just about made contact with Cos. Hopefully Cos has not got damage in that racing balls. I don't think he has. I think he's okay, but he could lose time to Evil Dragon here. But it's not going to affect it too much. I think it was very minor contact between the sister team, but Evil Dragon around the outside of Cos. Cos almost got the lead. He's got a lot of battery to use, his Cos. This could be game on for the V-Cub. Sure, this is going to be the lead battle that we are looking for. Through to turn 4, late on the brakes goes the V-Cub, and that was nice and calculated for him, but he doesn't make it stick. Evil Dragon just waiting for the prime moment, but he backs off. He's smart, and Cos keeps the lead. We thought Evil Dragon was going to get it there, but he does not. Cos is your race leader on lap 6 of 29. The top 3 are really the class of their own right now. JR Mason has just fallen out of overtake range. He's got to be careful that he does not fall out too much, because otherwise he won't have a chance of getting onto the podium like he did last week. Wolf hasn't got much in the tank either, but he's on those soft tyres. And just like we saw in the sprint race yesterday, someone was on the softs, and it got good towards the end of their stint. I wonder if we're seeing the same for Wolf here.
Yeah, maybe he's just saving his good tyres until the later stints, where eventually some of his drivers might have to take a risk of either going onto a softs, which don't last too long, or going onto hards, which take about 1,000,000 years to warm up. It'll be a big choice for these drivers, especially the ones on the mediums, to see what they go for going into their middle and final stint.
Here, I think we got Wolf going for the move. We got quite a few battles going on the field, but Wolf and JR Mason is the closest. Wolf on those soft tyres has used all the battery to get past, but is it going to be too little too late for the V-Carb driver? JR Mason could fight back. He's got more battery in the tank, but a little bit less overtake because, of course, he wasn't within that 1 second. But it doesn't matter for JR Mason. In the McLaren, he's going to try and breeze past Wolf, but Wolf shuts the door on JR Mason, and Wolf is defending like crazy right now, and he's doing a very great job. I have to say, we thought starting on the soft was the wrong idea. Wolf has definitely proved everybody wrong, and he's keeping within quite a lot of time, but he's only lost 2.4 seconds on the top three, so those two got lost a bit of time. Truth, on the other hand, is trying to make a comeback. He's passed Helvetica for 14th spot, and speaking of Helvetica, he's lost another place to Curly. Helvetica, I don't know what's gone on with him. He must have carried some sort of damage of some sort, or maybe he's just struggling with the pace around this circuit. Of course, just because you may do well around Belgium, you might not do well around it. By the way, Cos is just taking off right now because he is 1.2 seconds clear of Evil Dragon. Evil Dragon is struggling to keep up with Matinho right now in third.
Yeah, it's a tight battle all around the field. I have a feeling these soft tyres might just be starting to go as there's contact a little bit there between Matinho and Eva Drago. As Matinho claims that second place, which he's been desperate for, especially with the 3-second time penalty lingering over his head.
Yep, he definitely needed to do it. And another person that's going to try and get the move is Wolf. And I think he's covering off JR Mason beautifully. We've got pit stops lane here. James, Jack and Jamie, the three J's are coming into the pit lane. Ren and Truth follow suit as well. I am quite surprised for some Wolf hasn't come in yet. Same with the two other soft runners, but not surprised about the others. So James, Jack and Jamie have gone on to the hard, so as Ren and Truth. So they might do a double hard stint, or they might do a long medium stint later on. That surely suggests that the memes may not last longer than expected. So we will find out very, very soon what's going to go on here, as Matteo taking a very beautiful run on those medium tyres. And I'm just looking at the battery between Matteo and Evil Dragon. It looks roughly about the same, but Matteo has burned quite a bit of battery going on towards turns 10 and 11, whereas Evil Dragon has just saved a bit because he could control that pace. Closing up to him, he could afford saving battery, whereas Matteo is just burning battery to make sure Evil Dragon stays behind.
Yeah, a bit desperate probably to make sure Matteo keeps second, but also I'd like to argue in Mattino's case, trying to maybe get into the 1 second range of Cos to be able to keep the overtake as they both fly into the pits, which is an interesting move.
Understandably, because quite a few other drivers around them pitted, so they kind of had to respond. For the first of the leaders, though, to come in into the pit lane, so we'll see if that's going to make all the difference. Cos has stayed out, he has stayed out, so we'll see if the undercut or the overcut works wonders. So he's going to try and get some clear air and see if that makes a difference, but he's had clear air all the race, so he's got to produce quali lap after quali lap here, as we got a yellow flag. That's one of the Red Bulls. Troopers had a moment entering turn 413, and that's costed him a lot of time, but we're watching people come out of the pit lane, and Matteo and Evil Dragon coming out comfortably ahead of James. But Evil Dragon trying to go around the outside of Matteo, only going to try and leave enough space. Matteo shuts the door once more. This is great racing, and Matteo knows what they could do. They're both on the same tyres now. This is even steam, as they both pitted at the same time as well. They can't afford to be battling like this, because they're going to be losing a lot of time to Cos, who's now going to have clear air. So they just got to work together now until Cos pits. They can't afford to be battling like this.
Yeah, this is hurting more than helping them. They should create a bit of what used to be known as a DRS train. I guess we call it an overtake train now. Or straight mode train even, to try and
overtake train, because they all have straight mode.
Yeah, there we go. overtake train, we shall say, because it comes into the pits now, which is a very smart choice, as they're probably seen Evil Dragon and Matinho fighting heavily on the map there, Jess.
Yep. Well, I think had to do it now, because otherwise he's going to lose a lot of time. My prediction, I think he's going to come out way in the lead. I think he's going to come out 2 seconds clear, I think, because when you come out of the pit lane, you've got to see if you could have some clear air, and this is going to be very, very close indeed, but it would have been closer if he waited just one more lap, so he pitted at the right time. It's about 8 tenths per second, so it's going to be a three-way fight for the race win, and the one that's benefited out of all of this is Gamer James. Gamer James pitted earlier than quite a lot of drivers, including JR Mason. He's on those hard tyres, and it's shown that the undercut for most drivers have worked. Of course, Cos had the undercut work, but for James, he pitted a few laps earlier, and the undercut worked brilliantly, but for the others, unfortunately, it didn't. So James is showing some brilliant pace so far in that Alpine, because he seemed to be struggling in the last few races. So very, very great to see. He's under pressure from Jack Craig and Wolf behind. Interestingly, Wolf has gone on another set of softs, Laney.
Yeah, I noticed that. What I think Wolf's trying to do is almost replicate a one-stop while not disobeying the rules as such. So he'll probably go on to hard tyres after the soft stint.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going to do, as Wolf has passed, is having a battle with Jack Craig in the middle of turn 12. Oh my goodness, that was very, very close indeed, as we got Matinho that's passed Cos up into the race lead with the straight line mode activated, and now Cos is going to be having the overtake, and so is Evil Dragon. It's going to be between those three for the win. I think JR Mason's chance of a win, unfortunately, is gone. Same with Truth, he's now down in 18th position. Don't forget, the top 12 in 1R Racing score points, but if you're outside the top 10, no matter what position you are, as long as you finish, if you get the fastest lap, you get an extra point. So that's probably what some of these drivers are definitely aiming for at the moment. Jake's still leading. He's one of the only drivers not to pit yet. He's not doing too bad on those hard tyres, but he could probably see Matinho closing in on his Delta. It's not going to be that long, I think, before he goes into the pits. Or he's probably hoping for a safety car, which will bring him back into this race. He could, I think Jake has given some great data to his teammate on how the hards are feeling. He's not losing as much time as we would have thought. So Jake's, I think, are doing quite well. But these three have got to get a move on here to make sure that they don't lose that deficit. So Matinho now is still holding strong. We also got a big train between James and Jamie as well. Anything could happen here. There's also a tiny bit of contact between Evil Dragon and Coslady.
Yeah, welcome to One Hub Racing for you new viewers. This is all the action that you will see every single week from across all 4 tiers. What I will bring up is in Japan for the P2 preseason race, a few of the soft runners stayed out longer than the medium runners. I don't know if that's what Wolf's going to do on this second stint, or try to at least attempt to have a long stint, as Jake comes into the pits now on 11 lap old hards. We'll have to see where it comes out, but he's going to drop down the order quite a bit.
Yeah, but to be honest, the battling near the front is not what his race is, unfortunately. But he's going to probably do 2 mediums until the end of this race, I think. So where's he going to come out? He's going to lose 1 place, which is not too... Actually, no, he's not going to lose a place at all, because I think he was 10th before the pit stop. So his hard stint in his eyes, pretty decent, but he's lost a bit of time to Shiesty, who's about 4.1 seconds up the road. So Jake's got to get a move on at this stage. So now everyone has completed their first stop, and now we wait for drivers to complete their second stop, as we've got, I think, the battle for the wooden spoon. Oh, no, we don't. We have battle of the lap. Someone trying to unlap someone, and it's not working out. So that was a bit of a disaster class. Oh, what's happened there? As we got Renders past Night Cleo in towards turn 7, and that was a really decent move there. A bit of contact. I wonder if that's going to be conceded in the stewards when we will have to wait and see. We're pretty much approaching half race distance. P3 will be starting at 4:45, but the stream won't be starting until P4 finishes. So we may not get qualifying in P3, just to let you know. We may just get the race. So just to give you a warning about what's going on due to the delay of the obviously the the delay of this lobby. So that's what is going to happen. As we got a yellow flag as one of the Audi just hit the wall in towards turn 1, as Cos takes a lead from Evil Dragon and Matinho. Matinho's almost lost the place. Evil Dragon's going to try and go around the outside of Matinho, and he does. Evil Dragon regains second place. Again, these two can't keep fighting. Cos must be loving that the drivers behind are fighting like this. As they lost a bit of time, they lost chunks of time. They lost chunks of time in the racing, the Red Bull and the Audi. That's going to give Cos a huge sigh of relief.
Yeah, Cos will just be rubbing his hands. Well, maybe not, because he's neither on wheel control. You need your hands, but he'll definitely be licking his lips at this. Nearly gaining a whole second there to be like that is crazy work from Matinho and Evil Dragon. They shouldn't have been battling that hard. It's only lap 13. Come on, lads, focus up.
Yeah, I think they're not working together. They're not working together as much, and that's why they're losing quite a chunk of time. So they really got to be working together at this point to make sure they dispatch Cos. Maybe one driver try and pass him, and then maybe the other driver pass, and then fight. Do not fight until you pass Cos. That's what I would have done if I were these two drivers. And there's people behind them that could potentially gain on this if they keep fighting like this. Gamer James, for example. Wolf, speaking of Wolf, by the way, he's right on at the back of James, heading towards turn 1. It's going to be the closest battle on the circuit. Wolf on those soft tyres is absolutely flying. There is a reason why Wolf has gone onto those soft compounded tyres, because he loves them at the moment. Breezes past Gamer James in towards turn 1, but James is like, nope, you're not having that position, sunshine, as there was almost a bit of contact between Wolf and Jack Craig, and that's given JR Mason thank you very much to Jack, so he's got 6th place as well. Jack Craig maybe not doing too well on those hard compounded tyres, but this battle for 4th place, absolutely insane. We thought Wolf was going to gain a position, but James was like, no thank you, I'm keeping that P4.
Yeah, you said it like breezily past, and then James said, no thanks, that's my position, I will be keeping this on the hard tyres, which will frustrate Wolf massively, as we could have big yellow flags in Sector 1 there.
That is a lapped car. That's a lapped car of OE. The bottom 2 cars are 2 laps down as well. I think we're going to have to speak to them about their pace, I think, because we don't want them to be hindering the pace of the other people in the league. But meanwhile, Jack Craig's going to go around the outside and towards 12 maybe of Jamie. Not many people make moves around here. Jack's saying, I'm going to try and make that move and succeed it. And he's done it. Jack Craig doing moves that you won't be expecting in these new regulations. Up into 8th place, Jack Craig. Well, I might have done some reverse psychology here. He's actually doing not too bad on those hard tyres. Despite that penalty, he's now going to try and charge for Shiesty, who those medium tyres are not going to last very long at all now. I'm loving this race with the P40. Yes, there's been a bit of argy-bargy, but there's people that are being taking a lot of risk for moves, and for a lot of people, it's paying off.
Indeed, Jess. And speaking of entertainment, I had Evil Dragon come into my DMs this morning to say, basically promising us a brilliant race in the P40, and they've definitely given us some brilliant racing, some brilliant action. If there's any reason to follow One Hub, I would say this race and the following tiers races are the reason to follow One Hub.
Cheeky plug.
Very cheeky plug, indeed. And especially because, you know, we do a lot for our drivers here at One Hub, and these drivers, they're showing their thank yous, I guess, to the admin team and all our sponsors One Hub, as Jack Craig, very alternative line, completely off the track there.
Yeah, he lost a bit of time there, which is going to allow Jamie to potentially try and get the overtake on him once again. But as Lainey said, if you're liking this action, make sure you follow us on Twitch at One Hub Racing. Give us a follow if you haven't already. Follow us on all our socials on X, Instagram, TikTok, and also join our Discord as well. As Wolf has got a 3-second penalty, which is definitely going to hinder his race. But we got the Ferrari of Shiesty that's going to try and get past JR Mason. Shiesty, that had a very good result last week in Belgium, is looking to try and gain a couple positions to gain the same result as he did last week, but he can't quite do it at the moment. We are halfway distance at the moment, and we're going to see if these drivers could hold their own and go for some ambitious overtakes as we approach the end of this race. In my opinion, the battle for the race win is between the top two. No one, I think, is going to come close between the top two at the moment. Everybody else, I think, is just fighting for their own position. Evil Dragon is going to be on his own, but everyone else is going to be in a huge fight, and we can't wait to see at the moment. So Con is leading, Matteo second, Evil Dragon third, Gamer James in fourth, but he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 cars chasing him down. And I wonder, oh, this is going to be very exciting. His teammates closing him in as well. I wonder if we're seeing some team tactics coming into play here, because Jake is closing up on this train, and so is Bryce.
Yeah, I'd love to see a bit of team tactics there. So I think it's unbelievable when two very competitive people can work together as they know they are in the same team to benefit each other. But it goes all the way down to Jamie, this train. It is absolutely biblical, teams, as Arthur would say. But also, from 13th down to 17th, there's also a very close battle there too.
Yeah, and there's battle for the final points as well, which can mean everything. Even if only you get 1 point, it's better to get points than none at all. And this might be the race that could decide the championship later on down the line. We got some second stops being made from JR Mason, Jamie and King Bryce. So they're getting their second stops out of the way. JR Mason going on to hard tyres. I won't be surprised if Jamie goes on to another set of hards and Bryce goes on to hard. So Jamie double hard tyres, just like he did last week at Belgium, which paid off for him. And I wonder if everybody else is going to be thinking the same strategy. If I were some of these drivers in the front, I would get one of your stops done now. Cosm could afford to maybe stretch out a bit longer, but I wonder if he's going to go for the undercut just so he could cut off these guys. But he's got to be careful not to get held up in the traffic. So he's going to be looking at the track map like an absolute hawk is Cos to see, am I going to come out in traffic? Am I not? And if he's not going to come out in traffic, maybe he's going to be probably thinking about pitting. But it does depend what set of tyres he has to his disposal. If he has a set of hards, he can pit now. If he doesn't have a set of hards, he's going to have to wait until about lap 21, lap 22 to then go on to his final set of mediums. So we're just going to have to wait with breath to think about what he's going to pit on, as we're seeing one of the lap cars come into the pits. Matinho comes into the pit lane. He's going off those mediums, so he has to really, because he's done double medium. So he's going to go onto hard tyres until the end, and Evil Dragon is going to do the same.
Yeah, it's been intense in terms of strategy. One thing I do want to mention is McLaren's decided to double stack, which unfortunately Jamie did not benefit from, as he probably could have been right behind JR Mason, but instead is down in a lonely P15 right behind this train. Another battle I'd like to talk about that is between Wolf and the Ferrari City. They just had a very close coming together. They just about didn't touch. But that battle is one to watch for, right behind the Alpino Gamer James.
I've just seen in the chat that unfortunately Jack has lost some force feedback on his controller, so that's not going to go well for the rest of this one. So let's just hope that it's fixed itself, because otherwise these next 11 laps is going to be, I think, one of the most hardest of his life for Jack Craig, as both of those two cars have made contact. So what has started to be a great race for Jack Craig, unfortunately has unravelled and gone into disaster. I've driven with no force feedback before for 2 laps, and it was horrific. So, you know, it's going to be really difficult indeed, as we see Shiesty past Wolf. Now, I think Wolf's tyres are absolutely dead, so Wolf is probably going to come in. I think Shiesty's going to come in as well. James, I think he can afford maybe pitting as well, just to avoid the traffic. But it does depend what the others do. But he's not going to know what the others do, because he's the one in front. So James has taken a late decision and come into the pit lane. And I guess he's got another set of hards as well, because otherwise why would he be pitted? So let's see then, what tyres does James go on to? Because if it's mediums, there's no way the mediums are going to get to the end of this Grand Prix. So we're watching the Alpine car. That is hard. So he's got another set of hards to his disposal. Wow, interesting strategies there that quite a few people have gone for double hards.
I'm guessing, Jess, it's just so they can push those tyres to their absolute limit as Wolf comes up just behind the Haas of Ren there. But now it's a very congested mid-pack, and this will yet again be benefiting Kos, as he's got near enough a 20-second gap in the lead there, so we'll have to see what Kos does now.
Yep, Cos, I think, has been driven this race absolutely superbly at the moment. He's got the strategy right, and he pitted at the right time when he knows he was going to get clear air, whereas everyone else around him did not. So Cos, in my opinion, is the favourite to win this race after he was struggling last week. What a redemption story that could be for him. But he's got 11 laps to go. Things could go wrong for him in these next few laps, but he's driven amazingly at the moment. Jack Craig has recovered to P7, and he's chasing down Gamer James now. JR Mason's undercut has worked wonders, whereas Jamie has not. And it's interesting that JR Mason and Jamie double stack, because they're usually in a party together. So I wonder if Jamie made the last minute decision to pit and just suffer the consequences later. I don't know. Or maybe Jamie got damaged and he had to pit. I'm not entirely sure. Jake, by the way, has gone into the pit. I'm almost certain Jamie's going to go on to, he could go on to a set of memes actually. Memes could get to the end for him, for the Alpine driver at this point, but probably hards will be the sensible option. Yep, hard tyres for Jake.
Yeah, that's to avoid puncture risk, and also yet again to push tyres. He will have a massive tyre advantage compared to the people now around him as he gets ahead of Jamie in the McLaren there. The Jays are really teaming up here in terms of the field. You've got two Jays in P5 and 6, 11 and 12. You never know now, the Jays could all work together.
Yeah, you never know, and that's what's helped some drivers. And speaking of the Jays, one Jay has passed another one. As Gamer James has passed Jack Craig up into 5th spot, and he could be on for his best result at One Hub Racing if he could keep this up, as he is driving like his life is depending on it right now. We'll get the battery in just a moment. Jack Craig's not going to give up without a fight. They've been racing each other in another league, and we know Jack Craig does not put a foot wrong in some instances. He's loving this game, and he's up into 5th place. It's a shame that Jack Craig's got a 3-second time penalty looming, because otherwise he would have potentially be fighting for a podium as Shiesty tries to go around the outside of Helvetica, but Helvetica covers him off. Helvetica is trying to go on a recovery drive. He's still got to make one more stop, whereas everyone else around him has done 2 stops. Don't forget, it's mandatory 2 stop at One Hub Racing. Look at this, James and Jack still going side by side in towards the final corner. As light on the brakes goes one of the drivers, as Jack Craig and James, they are going side by side once more. Who's got the more battery? Jack Craig's going to get the toe on James. I wonder if we're throwing a bit of overtake chicken there cheekily in towards the final corner there to see who could get the extra boost, the extra power. I think that's what potentially someone has done. Helvetica's got another penalty. That's not good. Jake's dropped down 1 place, up down to 11th now. Ren's having a good race as well. But this battle between James and Jack, I'm loving this.
So am I, Jess. I will inform you of the pit stops now. So Cos needs 1 more stop, Helvetica needs 1 more stop, and also Ren needs 1 more stop. Those are the only 3 drivers not to make the mandatory 2 stops, as Knight has actually made 3 stops, so fair play to him, but unfortunately 18th place while those stops was probably not wanted there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see now when Cos pits, when does the midfielders who haven't pit yet pit. But also, 2 Hasses not pitting, that's not going to be good if they want to pit on the same lap.
Yeah, I think that they have been communicating enough. If you're a new driver to One Hub Racing, my advice, go in a party with your teammate. Yes, you may not know the person, but go in a party with your teammate, or if you're not in a party with your teammate, communicate the strategy with your teammate. Come up with loads of different options, because who knows, we could get a safety car. Anything could happen in this league, so you've got to come up with plan A, plan B and plan C. And the ones who have worked their strategy to perfection are the ones that have planned their strategy with their teammates. We just seen one person to go into the pit lane. That's Helvetica that has just done 12 laps on those set of the hard compounder tyres. So he has come in then into the pit lane. His teammate Ren has come in, and they're going to double stack, which is a bit unfortunate. Jamie having a battle with Jake. So again, the two J's fighting once more here in one hub. The two tier coordinators of this tier. Who's going to be the fastest on this day? It's going to be quite a close one. I know Jamie, he's not going to be happy with this result. 9th place was not what he would have wanted. He was hoping for 6th or 5th or better. He's down in 9th. He's going to lose quite a bit of points here. So he's going to hope he can climb a few more positions. But bearing in mind, people around him have got penalties. He's going to hope he can close up the gap even further.
Yeah, most definitely. Talking about team strategy, the V-Cars seem to have done their strategy perfectly, because Wolf and Cars have not once met in the pits, which has benefited almost both of them, as now Wolf is probably going to try.
Oh, someone sped in the pit lane. I didn't see who that was. But yeah, Cod has gone into the pit. Alexis, can you read people's mind? Because Alexis saying the reason why the V-Cubs have stayed out was to go on the softs. Cos has gone on the soft tyres. There you go. Oh my goodness. Alexis, you are a mind reader. Of course, you can catch Alexis racing and all the other rest of the drivers in the chat racing. Later on, of course, we've got P3 starting in a few moments' time, but we won't be starting the stream till 10 minutes before the end of qualifying. We may not cover qualifying the way this is going, but make sure you watch the likes of Gaza, Rydog, Ivor Spin, Mike, Alexis, loads of our drivers who are in the chat. Escargot racing a little bit later on. They're probably going to be hoping they're going to be having a good race a little bit later on, including one of our owners, Lukey, as well. So we get to see him racing in P1 at 7:30 tonight. Now, Martino's now within 2.1 seconds of Cos. I don't think he's going to get him. I think Cos is going to try and also go the fastest lap here, because he's got some clear air in front of him as well. I wonder if some of the drivers lower down the field are going to be doing exactly the same.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm just checking for the fastest lap now. It is Cos who has the fastest lap by a couple of hundredths behind his Martino there. So Cos will be trying to improve on his laps here to try and get the fastest lap again on those soft tyres.
Yep. And we know the soft could last quite a bit around this circuit, a bit longer than expected, as we saw with Wolf, as we're seeing Jack Craig getting past the lapped cars, as we're seeing James, Jack and Shicey going at it once more. Absolutely loving this. If this is a battle for inside the stewards room, I'm definitely going to be including this. Colin, and take note. Nick, take note, because I've been enjoying watching this, and this is an example of how you can go racing at One Hub Racing. If there's a reason why you should be go racing at One Hub Racing, this is why. Yes, I've said racing too many times in one sentence. The gap now between Cos and Martino has come down now to 1.8 seconds. Jack's lost time to James, but Jack has covered off Shicey, who's looking lightly quick on those the hard tyres. So Shicey in the Ferrari versus Jack Craig in the Aston Martin. Who is going to come out on top here? Well, we don't know yet, because Shicey stays ahead of Jack Craig. I wonder if Jack Craig is struggling to get those tyres up to temperature, because don't forget we're in overcast conditions at One Hub Racing now, which means that the track temperature is going to be cooler, the tyres are going to get colder, which means the hards are going to be struggling to pretty much heat up in a sense, which is why Cod's strategy by staying out until it got overcast could work in his favour.
Yeah, most definitely. The softs being the easiest to warm up, because they are, well, it's in the name, the softest tyre that F1 has to offer. Obviously, back in 2016, we had like the ultra soft and that. But now they've simplified it to soft, medium, hard with different, it could be C1, could be C4. As Cos does a new fastest lap of the race, this could be another point earned, as well as the points for winning this race. A fastest lap point wouldn't go too bad either.
Yes, because we remember in the P3 tier many seasons ago, the championship win came down to 1 point, and it came down to the fastest lap point. J-Luke got that fastest lap point in one race. Rich didn't, which meant J-Luke won the championship. That's what it came down to that day. So if you could get that fastest lap point, it could mean all the difference. So Cos at the moment could be on for the Grand Slam, because don't forget he got pole position at the start of, well, at the end of qualifying, and he could be on to get the win and fastest lap, which means he could take the Grand Slam. But it's not over until it's over. We have not had a safety car yet, touch wood, but by the looks of things, we are not going to get a safety car, which is good news, because if we did get one now, there's no way we would have covered the end of qualifying in the P3 tier. I think the battle for the win has long gone. I think the battle we want to see is from 5th downwards. Everyone from Ps 1 to 4, I think they've got some clear air at the moment, so I don't think they're going to fight. But we've got James, Jack, Shiesty and Wolf trying to fight for as many points as they can. As it stands, James and Shiesty will get 5th, 5th and 6th anyway, but Jack and Wolf, despite them getting penalties, they want to try and get rid of that deficit as Cos goes even quicker with that fastest lap. And I'm going to see who else, who's got the fastest lap outside the top 10 at the moment. It belongs to Fox, I think. No, it's not belongs to Fox. Night Cleo in P18 has got the fastest lap outside the top 10 at the moment. So if it finishes like this and nobody outside the top 10 gets the fastest lap, then Night Cleo will get the extra point despite being in P18, which he'll take in a heartbeat, a little bit of a consolation prize for him. So 4 laps to go of this race. Anything could happen. This has been a very tidy race from a lot of our drivers so far.
Yeah, this has been entertainment at its peak. I don't care what anybody else says. This has been the entertainment of the weekend. I'll tell you what, this a bit of a delay here benefits the P3 class in a sense, because they've not got the pressure of some brilliant F1 fans watching them.
Oh, Shiesty going for the movement towards turn 8. They make a bit of contact. I think Shiesty was a bit later on the brakes than intended. That means he's lost a bit of time to Jack Craig.
Yeah, as also, you just mentioned like having the fastest lap outside the top 10. How about now the fastest lap out of all the drivers today? Cos will not be happy with that.
Wow, wow, wow. Fastest laps like no tomorrow. Night Cleo has got the fastest lap out of the entirety of the race so far, and he would take that in a heartbeat. I don't think I could get that in qualifying, which honestly is very, very embarrassing. And just to let you know about the other 2 tiers, P2 and P1, they're still going on at normal time. It's just the P2 stream will start slightly later, not by much though. So P2 will start at 6 p.m, P1 at 7:30, just like usual as well. So yeah, don't worry, Ride Dog. You carry on at your normal time. You'll be absolutely fine. So Jack Craig then. He's not going to be fighting James, unfortunately. They lost a bit of time from that. But can they fight Shiesty? Jack Craig has already lost a bit of ground anyway. And if he's not careful, I think Jake could gain them on penalties. As we've got 3 laps to go of this Bahrain Grand Prix. And an extra point gained could mean something if you want to gain some points in the Constructors' Championship. Before today, McLaren were leading the Constructors' Championship. But after today, things can change. We've got a V-Carb that could make all the difference as well. Red Bull were doing decently. I think Truth, unfortunately, has been struggling the entirety of the race compared to his teammate, which is very, very sad. As a tiny bit of contact for Shiesty, Jake and James once more. Got a bit confused between the 2 teammates there, but it is coming up to the end of the race anyway.
Yeah, luckily for you, you get a couple hours break, and today, you lucky One-Hub viewers, you get to view Jess again commentating the P1 tier, which should be very exciting, as Cos takes back his fastest lap. Night Cleo and Mike still have the fastest lap outside the top 10 though, so they will both be very chuffed with themselves here, Jess.
Yep, they will. I don't think Night Clear is going to gain that many more positions, and I think he's lapped anyway, but at least he only has to worry about not doing an extra lap, which he'll be pretty relieved of himself after how this race is going. If someone in P3, if someone is subjecting someone in P3 could keep tabs on how P3 is doing in qualifying, that'll be amazing, because I want to have a little bit of a nose before we get going into the P3 proceedings. We'll be on a quick off, by the way, once we finish with P3. We'll be literally deciding driver of the days once everyone crosses the line, just so we can get the P3 stream up and going very, very quickly, as the battles are not over. Shiesty 3 tenths behind. Let's look at the battery then between Shiesty and James. Shiesty late on the brakes. Contact between the pair of them. That's a lot of time lost for them. That's going to give Wolf a thank you message, I would got to admit, and that's going to help Jack Craig as well, and even Jake. More contact being made as well. I'm almost certain that's going to be sent to the streets. And look at that, Jake's in this fight as well.
Yeah, this is a great battle here for the prestigious P5 position, which is a very good result for any of these drivers in this battle, as Wolf makes a bit of a mistake there, losing a bit of time to Shiesty in the Ferrari. That contact going into turn 10 could cost all of these drivers in a way, because they all sort of bump drafted like it is bumper cars through there.
Yeah, I'm almost certain they're probably going to be losing time, but they don't care. They're going to be having a little bit of fun. But we are going to start the final lap of this race then, as Cos makes his way through turn 4 and 5 for one final time. But as James makes his way towards turn number 1, he's got Shiesty, Wolf, Jack Craig and Jake chasing him. Who's going to brake first? Who's going to blink first? Well, we don't know. Shiesty's got a penalty. Shiesty's got a penalty. That's going to give, I think, Jake some hope. He's probably going to be in P6, which he probably wasn't expecting coming into this as well, as he's probably not taking too many risks right now, which is probably a good thing. He was in 10th at the start of this race, and he could be on for a P6 result, which he'll be, I think, shot in a way. But let's go on board with this man, cause he has not put a foot wrong this entirety of the race, where everyone else faltered, when everyone else fought too much and lost time. Cos played the strategy right. He appeared at the right time where everyone else didn't. Cos makes his way towards the final few corners. He did not have a good race last time out in Belgium, but he's put Belgium to bed. Cos wins the second round of the season. He wins his first race in one hub. Brilliant job from him. Matinho crosses the line in second, and Evil Dragon will come across the line in third to complete the podium. JR Mason will get fourth, but look at this fight, Laney, for P5.
Yeah, I think James might just keep P5 here, which would have been the case anyway, because the drivers behind have penalties. Jake, his Alpine teammate, could be up to P6 with all these penalties.
Jack spun. He's going to lose quite a bit of time now. Oh, so now Jack could be in danger of going out of the points here. But Jake getting P6, he'll be happy with that. Shiesty 7th, Jamie 8th, Wolf 9th, Bryce 10th, Jack in 11th, and Box is going to get the final point paying position. He's got no penalties. Brilliant result for Fox. I still believe Nightclear is going to get the fastest lap of this race. I'm a bit disappointed with Truth. A race to forget for him. We'll see if he could redeem himself in a few weeks' time when we go to Monza. But since we have to go soon, so P3 could start, Laney, who's your sim racing setup driver of the day, and what would you like to ask him?
I'm going to give it to James here because of that brilliant. From P10 to P5, you cannot write that. I'd like to ask him just what he is thinking about his strategy today. You know, he went a bit diverse compared to everyone else. So what was the strategy plan, and did he actually execute that plan?
I think that's what I would have gone for as well. James, stellar performance, one of his best results in one hub racing history. So congratulations to James. My drive of the day has got to go to the race winner, Cos, and he's driven faultlessly today. And my question will go to, it is, brilliant drive from you today after Belgium last week and you not fighting for the race win. Is it a relief that you can now step on the top step of the podium? So that is my question. We'll go quickly through the results before we round off the stream. So we've got Cos getting the race winner, fastest lap and pole position to the Grand Slam. Driver of the day in game goes to Jake, but of course he's not going to get driver of the day by us because we've chosen James and Cos, but there you go. Most overtakes Helvetica and cleanest driver Jake. So let's go for your results quickly. I'm going to speed through things through here. We've got Cosmatinho, Evil Dragon, JR Mason, James, Jake, Shiesty, Jamie, Wolf, Bryce, Jack, Fox. Those are your points paying positions. And here are the rest of the grid. And all 20 drivers have finished the race. Incredible stuff. Lainey, it has been an absolute pleasure for you to join me in the commentary box. Hopefully we'll find a permanent solution for when we go to Monza. The drivers have got a break week coming up so they could breathe. Lainey, have you enjoyed yourself?
I have indeed, and thank you for letting me be here today.
Thank you very much. Who knows? Well, you might see Lainey later because she may be commentating on P2 if no other commentator is interested. But you can catch myself in P1 later with Jamie at 7:30 as we commentate that. But make sure you watch P3 in a few moments' time with Evil Dragon and Bony Fish taking you through the commentary. We're not going to leave you hanging because they need to get setting up. So thanks for watching. We will see you in a couple of weeks' time for Monza. Bye-bye.